Hey guys, welcome to Torch Tales, Stories Behind the Hood. I'm your host, Frank Vargas, aka Traveling Frankie. And today, here I am with a special guest, someone that I've been stalking for a while. And I told her this, so this sounds weird, but it is what it is. Shana Schreiber.
Shana.
Shana. See what I mean? First of all, it was the first last name, then the first name. You know,
Everyone gets it wrong. It's okay.
I'm just gonna call it a day, and it is what it is. Why don't you tell me how do you pronounce both first and last name?
Shana Schreiber.
All right, and so you did text me your maiden name, and that is what again?
Tremzinski.
Yeah, take that, people. Yeah, go ahead and spell that and try to say it twice. Um, so, with those last names, I got to ask you, what's your background? Where are you from?
I'm originally from Indiana. I haven't
Okay,
left.
okay, okay, but your last name is not.
No, my family is from Lithuania,
Okay.
Poland, Russia, all over the place. I'm kind of a mutt.
Hey, well, aren't we all? Aren't we all in today's world? Have you visited those countries before,
No,
family?
no, I have not left the
Look,
USA.
look at your face. It's like, no, hell no. Why would no? Yeah. Jeez. All right. Um, so when you say your family, is it third generation back, second generation back? Like, are you third, fourth, or you just don't even know?
I am fourth. Yeah.
You are the fourth.
hmm
Okay. All right. Cool. So Indiana, what part of Indiana?
Uh, Northwest Indiana. I'm about an hour from Chicago.
Oh, okay. Oh, cool. I'm usually in that area a lot. Now, I want to ask you, it's amazing what you do. The art and the way you do things. It's just pretty cool. And there's no other way of putting it. This is my take on it. But aside from unique, which is how you have one of your introductions on your Instagram, how would you call your art?
Yeah. Different. Not everyone does it, but there are a lot of me that do similar things. But we all have our different tastes, just like with any other art.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. And the name of your Instagram is?
Silverware by Shana. But
Okay.
silverware as you're wearing it, not the actual silverware word.
Well, but you use a lot of that in your art, so it's kind of like a double,
Mhm,
playing with words, right?
mhm.
Now, how did they? First of all, who were you as a kid? What were you into growing up in Indiana? Like, what was your thing?
I was always really big into art, like really big. My mom always got me into art classes. I learned pottery at the age of 13, stuff like that.
Really?
Yeah.
And so you connected right away with it, or was it
Yep.
your thing and your mom put you into it, or your thing and then your mom saw, oh, she likes it. Let's.
My mom knew I liked it, and she's like, "Ooh, let's keep doing that." So just kept doing art classes. And my senior year in high school, I took all art classes for half days.
Okay. Now, so I'm guessing the school actually did have this kind of classes because I mean a lot of
Yeah.
schools have dropped so
Yes,
many things
I grew
nowadays.
up lucky in a good area, and we had a lot of art classes to choose from.
Oh, that is pretty cool. Like it's unfortunate that so many schools don't get the budget. If it's football or and
Yeah.
after that it's like whatever, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you are doing art in high school,
Mhm.
did you already have your mode, your medium that hey, this is what I really connect with, or for a while you tried other things until you got to where you are now?
No, not at all. I'm one person that will start a craft, like it for a little bit, and then give it up and just keep going on to the next one. So
Hold on,
I know how to do a lot of things, but
so you're still that person nowadays?
no. So when it comes to my business, this is actually the first thing that I've stuck with, which is
Okay.
weird.
Hey, well,
Yeah.
there you are. It pays the bills now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Bye.
there you go. Right, and as you, because I noticed one thing too.
Mm.
The social media came after and you understood how, hey, let me use the social media platforms and let me make sure that I am using this digital business card to promote my art. Because I know your first post was on April of 2018.
So when I first started, I was just going to do markets and sell in person and just make cash. I had no intentions of having to pay taxes on my business and all that. And
Who wants to?
yeah, but over time of me actually posting online, people are like, "Hey, can you build a website, please?" And I'm like, "Okay." That took me a whole month to make.
Hold on, did you do it yourself?
Yes.
Good for you. I love
Yeah.
that. Good for you. How many versions of that website, or how many things have you done? Is it the first same website that you did many years ago, or you did some stuff since then?
I've been changing it up a bit here and there,
Yeah,
but when I get the patience for it, I it's not my favorite thing to do.
I know, but it comes as part of running a business,
Yeah.
right? It
Yeah.
is what it is, and so you don't do farms and markets anymore?
No, last year I stopped because I couldn't handle the online sales and doing markets at the same time.
Oh, really? Oh, look
Yeah.
at you! You're such a big deal already.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, do you miss the interaction with the people at the markets? Because I mean, it's a different thing. Or people are always trying to haggle you for the prices.
Yes
Like,
and no. Every market's different. Sometimes people will haggle you. Some people are okay with the price. It just depends on the market and what it's like there. But it's exhausting doing markets, setting up, tearing down, talking to people, and explaining what you're doing. And because like I'd actually do live demonstrations and resize stuff while I was
oh,
there.
you do? Oh,
I
cool.
used to, yeah.
You know, it's crazy because I mean, I kind of do my own version of that. So I'm in sales. I work for a manufacturing company. So we have all these shows throughout the years, and we have to go do demos and go do setups, and from small to big. And
Mhm.
most people think, you know, like, oh, great, they just come to the booth, they see it all set up, and oh, wow, everything's so pretty. It's like, yeah, how the hell did you think it got to look this way? You know, it's like, yeah, sweating for 2 days prior to this.
Mhm.
Yep. But I totally get it. Now, how did you learn how to sell and your art, you know, pricing your art? You know, was that, were you watching other people? Did you say, you know what, I spent 3 hours, 4 hours, this is what I should be making?
All right. So there are different groups on Facebook for silverware artists, all at different
Hmm.
levels. And so I started joining those and talking to people, and everyone just gives each other ideas of their pricing, how they make stuff, everything.
Yeah,
When I first started, I was very cheap when it came to stuff, and a lot of them did not like me because of that.
of
But
course.
for me to make like a simple spoon ring, it took a minute. I'm like, okay, that's $10. And I was happy with that because for me, it was a hobby, not a business. And then over time, I slowly started raising up my prices, which most people don't do. They start high and then go lower if it doesn't sell. But, you know,
Yeah, so that approach did work for you?
it worked. I did fine. No one questions my prices. And a lot of people still, they're like, you need to raise up your prices. And I'm like, yeah, maybe.
So that same ring that you were charging $10, how much is that same ring now?
So a typical plated spoon ring, those are 28 now, I believe. I have so
Okay.
many products though, I don't know what half the prices are at the time.
That's funny. Now that you say that you have so many products, so when you are making something, are you making small batches, you make quantities, or it's unique?
So I have my unique pieces that can take me a few hours, and then I also have pieces that I'm making hundreds of at a time.
Whoa,
Yeah.
really? Interesting. So I'm assuming you do this all of this from your house,
Yes.
and
Right
and you
now we
just
are in my sunroom of our house, which is right off the kitchen.
I can kind of, yeah, see the background a little. That's why I ask, and I assumed. Now, are those also big ass spoons and forks behind your head too?
Yeah.
Of course they are. I mean, you know, why wouldn't they? Yeah, I get it. Um, Now, when you are making something custom piece, someone reaches out and says, "Hey, I saw this that you're making, but I want to just kind of make a different version." Do they give you a lot of freedom to just go for it, or do you get a lot of people that say, "No, I hate that. This is how I want it. I told you that how I wanted it."
I prefer them to actually tell me what they want made versus what I want made because everyone,
Really?
yeah. everyone's different when it comes to their taste and their style and everything. And I'd be like, "Oh, we can do this." And they're like, "No, no, I'll do this instead." And I'm like, "Okay, yeah, thanks." But a lot of times they give me the freedom. I'm like, "No, please pick something. Here's some options I'll give you, and then just pick from there."
Well, I guess that makes it easier. So if something is not up to the parts, like this is exactly what you said you wanted, right?
Yes,
So
yes,
I totally get that. And I know you're a mom, right?
yes.
You have one son,
One son.
and how old is he?
He's going to be 7 October 3rd.
Oh, wow. And what is he into?
Tractors, trucks, everything that moves. We have a gator. He knows how to mow the lawn, stuff like that.
Nice, nice. There you go. That future training life skills for sure.
Hopefully.
Now, before you were making this and making art for a living, what other jobs have you had in the past?
I've worked a lot of retail, Dollar Tree, Dollar General, was manager
Okay.
there. I've done photography, worked in an exotic petting zoo. Oh,
I'm glad you finished petting suit because when you first started worked at an exotic, I'm like, what? Yeah.
yeah, yeah, exotic petting zoo.
And so photography. So doing what exactly though?
Taking pictures of families. I used to work for a company called Picture People that I think they went bankrupt, but I also used to do it on the side and had my own little business also.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So what was the one job you had right before this became the full time and the one that said I'm quitting that I hate those people anyway, so I'm quitting.
So I used to work for a maid service and I used to clean $1 million houses.
Oh, that's always fun. Just to it lets you know where you stand in the world. Like I used to manage here in South Florida a um someone that had about 5 houses, and every one of those houses was even bigger than the next. And you just like, yeah, must be nice. Yeah.
No, I never want a big house.
Oh well, well,
I'd
some
rather
of
have
us, I guess
everything paid off and just live comfortably.
that is true. So that was the one thing you were doing right before this.
Well, so th- I had a child and I became a stay-at-home mom before this, actually. And then my husband was just going to take care of me, and that I was lucky enough to have my husband be able to take care of me, and then
Nice.
go back to work and just started this business, and it just kind of blew up.
That's pretty cool. And when do you think it actually blew up? Like, was it really slowly, gradually, or you just went like, oh my God, I'm going to have to work 7 days now because I got to make all these things.
Uh, so I started TikTok during COVID, along with everyone else. And
Yeah, I wonder
that's
why.
kind of when it blew up, right when I first started, and everyone's like, "Make a website." So I made a website, and I had to learn so much more. And
And so that's when you think, um, so you were one of those just watching TikTok. You had your TikTok account, and you were just like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah.
the typical. Got it. Uh, why? How did you come up with the name? Was the name already because of the art you were doing already, or the name became after? Like, what? Why that name?
I was in a group for on Facebook for moms, and I'm like, "Hey guys, can you guys help me with the name?" And they picked out a name, a bunch of names, and that's the one everyone loved. And I'm like, "Okay,
Oh, really? Well, so it seems like these Facebook groups, you're really into
yeah,
them.
yeah."
First it was the artists, now the moms. Like,
There
you know,
is great knowledge on Facebook.
I have to say I've never joined any of those groups. But you're not the first one that actually mentions things like this. So maybe I'm missing out on
Uh,
something.
you probably
Yeah. Now you registered the name and all that, everything. Now you have a
yeah,
business. Now it's a legitimate business, and like you said before, you're paying taxes.
yeah, or paying taxes.
Now, what is your typical week looks like? Do you work through the weekend? Do you work through the weekdays? Like, what is that?
So we try. I say we because my husband owns a machine shop, and he does
Oh,
a lot of
okay.
he does a lot of emergency jobs for our area because we have all the mills. And depending on his weekend, he might be working the weekend, and if he does, he'll take our child to work and I'll work. So, but it just
Ha-
depends on the weekend.
Yeah, got it. Now you use a lot of flame, of course, and stuff like that in your art. Would you consider that you are bracing? It's soldering. It's
I do a lot of soldering.
yeah. And why so much or so many silverware? Like, what? Why do you found it that man, I can really grab those things, cut the head, and make all this cool stuff out of it? Was that always your go-to? Like you just saw that?
Yeah, so over time, I slowly think of new ideas of what I could do. I'm like, oh, this would be really cool with that, or just vice versa. But there's so many different patterns to choose from, and you also have to buy the silverware, and it's like a little antique hunt every time.
That's what I was going to ask you too. So you actually go out and go to antique
Some
shops and
I've
try to
bought
find.
out my area. There's people that know of me, and they're like, "Hey, I got my grandma's silverware. Do you want to buy it?" I'm like, "Yes, I do." 'Cause most of the time, I just buy online because it's easier, and I don't have to
Of
go
course,
picking, and I can actually work throughout the day and look for silverware.
I know. It's like here comes that lady again. Jesus Christ. Yeah. Yep. That is too funny. What do you think? What would you like to be the end goal? Like what it's I know when someone is an artist, of course, they want to create art always. There's just that connection with the left side of the brain and so on, right side of the brain, that yin and yang. So, where would you like to see your brand 5, 10 years from now?
uh, I hope to be in good health still, and still have my wrist and be able to work. Between
That
that and just
helps.
being happy in general. I've seen so many people on social media where they actually gain the following and then they just start making awful content, and like it just doesn't look like they enjoy what they do anymore. And they're just doing it for the
Yeah.
likes and the money. I hope to
It,
never
it,
be like that. That's my goal.
yeah. No, that's good. That's a good point because it becomes like, for some of them, it becomes about quantity, not quality. And you don't have to be pumping a video every 2 hours.
Mhm.
It's just take your time, do things right, do things because you still like them and you love them.
Mhm.
And would you like to see your brand in like stores and stuff like that? Is it already like or you don't want to open that door?
I don't want to get that big. I've have sold in stores before, but I can't keep up with that anymore either. But like
Yeah,
name brand stores, no, no, I'm good.
I right. So but what about like those small boutique mom and pops jewelry
If I
places?
could, I would love to, but I can't keep up with that anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess you're gonna have to start hiring. I think you have a 7-year-old running around. Child labor. You
He
just got.
he enjoys it, actually. He's trying. We're getting there slowly.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Are you only? Do you have any siblings?
I have 2 brothers and 1 sister.
Gotcha. None of them do art or any kind of what you
No,
do.
no.
Gotcha. Okay, that's cool. And have you ever encountered that it's easier for you to connect making art? And this is kind of that weird question. Being a woman versus if you were a man. Like, do people connect more with you because, oh, she's a woman, she makes great art? Do you think a man would connect the same, and vice versa?
So, if I was a man
Yeah,
talking.
yeah,
No, I've seen a lot of guys be able to do the same thing as me and the same thing and grow and everything else, and they've been fine.
yeah. And the reason why I ask is because, at least on the strictly welding side of the business, it's such a male-oriented industry. Now, of
Mhm,
course, making art is totally different. But
mhm,
I know a lot of metal artists and welders that, are women that started either here or there, and they went through the struggles of same thing. Oh, a women welder or a woman in the trade and so on. You are a unique space that also covers some of the same tools that some of these people use.
mhm.
That's the only reason why I ask that, just to see, because I don't know enough about your side for me to just make an educated um, opinion. So that's why it sounded stupid. Yeah.
If you're
And
female or male, either way, you are still going to get the same amount of likes and money versus also, but hate, you'll get hate too. So it
yeah,
doesn't matter. Like it's all the same for the most part.
so that's a good point. When you say you get hate,
Yeah.
so you get so because now everyone has an opinion and everyone's an expert behind
Mhm.
behind the two thumbs, right?
Yes.
Um, what kind of hate do you get? What is it that they're telling you every once in a while? It's like, ah,
So for me, a lot of it is I'm destroying history because I'm messing with antiques. But the funny thing is, not only do I buy online and stuff, and from people that no longer want the pieces, but I also pick through scrap yards.
yeah, now, yeah, I can totally see that. Some people just are just
A lot of
insane.
times, I'm saving the pieces from being melted.
Yeah,
But I've gotten death threats. But the internet's different compared to being online, though, in
yeah,
person. But
correct. And when you are so you do make a lot of resizing and custom stuff. Like, actually I can just reach out to you and say, hey, I need a
mhm.
9, a 10, 11. And do you charge differently when you are resizing, or you already have this pre-made stuff and it's
Same price, sometimes
gotcha?
cheaper.
Oh,
I do
really?
a lot of bartering too with my customers. Say they have a full set and they're like, "Hey, I want 5 rings, you can have the rest." I'm like, "Okay, no problem."
Oh, because so how many rings can you make out of, let's say, because one spoon stem or whatever, it's one, right? Or
Yeah. I can make a lot of pieces out of one piece though, but not everyone wants that.
I
They're like,
see.
"Oh,
So
yeah, that's good. We just want 1 ring and that's it."
so you could probably make a ring, set of earrings and stuff like that out of all just that one stem.
Yes.
Huh.
Some people are
Cool.
for it and some people are like, "Yeah, we're good. That's it."
Huh. That's very interesting. Do you go to any, or do you used to go to any shows, other shows for artists out there, and the farms, like, or the markets? Were you ever just a fan, not setting up, not selling, just kind of to see your side of the industry?
I know a few silverware artists in my area. Like we know each other. We talk. We're friendly. There are silverware artists out there that aren't so friendly that think they're the best person ever, and you can't do it.
Uh,
Yeah, there's in my area. There's 2 or 3, and there's people that come and go too. And
gotcha. And what's the tool that you have that gave you the most trouble learning? Like, you knew you needed it,
um,
whether it's a vendor, whether it's the flame, whether it's the press, whatever, or
if
everything was
I'm paying for it, I'm learning it. Yeah, no, it's not just gonna sit there. I'm gonna figure it out.
that's a good answer. How
I've
how do you
definitely had
think?
struggles, but, yeah, I'm not gonna I'll figure it out.
So if I'm getting into it and I
Mhm,
said, you know what, I've never done this before.
mhm,
I'm just a little boy, a little girl that sees you art, and I go, Mom, Dad, I really want to. That's awesome. I really want to get into it. What
mhm.
would you recommend the first thing that parent should teach their kids, or start the process? Or if I was also a 18-year-old that wants to get in it, what would you tell me?
Tool-wise of what to get?
Yeah, just overall, like, what should I learn? Should I learn a process first? And with that process, should I get that first tool that I need to start playing with? What should that be?
Okay, so for tools are expensive. They're
Okay.
not cheap. So, I would start off with rings first, because for me, personally, those are the easiest things to make, and start
Okay.
off the old-fashioned way with a rawhide mallet or a rubber mallet if you wanna get cheaper with it, and a metal mandrel, and some bolt cutters, some sandpaper, and just do it the old fashioned way. It's going to take you forever, but if you enjoy that, then you should go to the next step. But even doing that way, you can easily, slowly buy those bigger tools that you want.
Gotcha. Do you do any classes?
I
Do
used
you
to.
have? Yeah. And what? Too much? Too much too?
Yeah. I
Now,
get a lot of
two,
people that want to do video chats like this, but
yeah,
if they don't have the tools, there's no learning. It's
yeah.
just me doing the same thing in my videos. I'm like, it's not going to work.
Now, you don't do it anymore because it was too much with your time, or because just dealing with people in person was a pain?
I love people, but
Yeah.
no, it's mostly the time. It's between having family time and then I do this most of the day. It's normally a 9 to 5. My son will get home from school. I hang out with him. After he goes to bed, I'll fill out orders, hang out with my husband.
Got it. Now that you talk about family, so you're not working, your
No.
husband's not working. What do you guys do? What's the one thing that, hey, it's family time, we're gonna go out? Like, what kind of things are you guys into?
We go in the summertime, we typically go to tractor shows or engine shows. That's a
Okay,
pretty big thing in my family. It's something my husband grew up with, and now we're trying to show my son into it.
that's
But
cool. Do you guys ever travel out of Indiana? You guys,
every so often, I'm going to Ohio next week to go see my brother and his family.
oh,
Yeah.
that's cool. Have you ever heard of the show Fab Tech?
No,
No.
no.
So, so the show Fab Tech, it's probably the biggest metal fabrication show in the US and most of the world, and it happens once a year, and you can run into anything and whatever you can think of, whether it's tools, whether it's processes, whether it's metal artists and welders, and uh,
Mhm.
it's so much to. It's a 3 day show,
Mhm.
and the reason why I am saying it's because it's happening in Orlando coming up, and just the relationships that people build there, and the other metal artists that go to those shows. It's like trades, brazing, soldering, welding on steroids times 100.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you may want to just look at it into because it's every so often it happens in a cool city, and most people also just kind of tag it along with a vacation with the family, and just one of the whoever's into goes to the show for a day or two, and it's like free training once you're there, because everyone's just willing to, let me show you what my machine does, let me show you what this process, let me show you these other things, blacksmithing and all these other things. Like, it's pretty cool. So just read on it. Fab Tech, fabrication technology. It's what it stands for.
Okay.
Um, now, when, and I promise you, we're almost done. When, how long does it take you to do a whole ring nowadays? Now that you are so seasoned, now that you are such an expert, you're gonna make a size 11 ring for a man. Um, how long does that take you?
Like with walking, and if you don't include the walking from machine to machine, it's 1 minute.
Damn, the
Yeah.
hell?
Yeah.
That's not fair. Holy, 1 minute. So
Yeah.
hold on. You're telling me you have a spoon that you haven't done anything to it,
Hmm.
and by the time you cut, bend, brace, whatever the hell you do to it, about a minute? Shit. See, I even messed my camera. That's how excited I got. 1 minute. That's insane. I can even go through the door in a minute.
My favorite things, I'll get custom orders. And I'm like, hey, I'm working on your order. And they're like, okay, great. And then a minute later, I'm like, hey, here's a picture of your order. And they're like,
And that's funny, because there's always that saying of, um, don't charge me for the speed, charge me for what I know. For my 10 years experience, 20 years experience. Still, people sometimes have a hard time understanding that,
mhm,
and they'll be like, but wait, it took you a minute. Well, you
mhm,
do it, see how long it takes you, and get all the tools and everything else. So that's pretty cool. That's amazing.
mhm.
um how many followers you have on Instagram right now, do you know?
That was at like 50,000, I think. It might be, I have a video going viral at the moment, so it could be
R-
anything.
really? So which video is that going viral?
I just made a coin ring video.
Oh, okay. Oh, is that the one that you are pressing it twice, like something like that? I saw a press because it bends, then you press it again, then it kind of, I don't know. It's
Probably.
yeah. You you are so in tune with what you got out there. I'm just kidding. And when was it that when Instagram was growing for you and you went, oh, I have 1,000, I have two, five, 10. What number freaked you out in a good way? Like you saw that number and you go like, oh, mom, I made it.
I don't pay attention to the numbers for the month. So I have all of the social media and all
Yeah,
are very high up in numbers. But I try my best to not pay attention to that kind of stuff.
really?
Yeah. It's okay. So sometimes I have to because I'll have people email me about getting tools and they want to know the actual number. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, but
Gotcha. So which one do you does best for you, TikTok or Instagram or what platform?
Uh, TikTok used to be, and then since I'm not selling on TikTok because the TikTok shop is the big thing right now. My views have just gone low. YouTube has gone pretty great in the past few. I just started a few months ago,
Oh, really?
and yeah, Facebook too. Facebook is really good.
Wow. So, huh, I wonder what generation is looking at Facebook, because the saying it's always like, our parents were on Facebook, so we run away from Facebook and we kept, going running away from whatever the ones behind us. So
But
that's interesting.
yeah, the typical customer for me is older. Typically, I don't draw my attention to the younger crowd for some reason. It's fine.
Huh. Yeah, millennials, whatever. And are you monetizing some of these platforms already? They're actually
What'd you say?
are the platforms already been monetized for you? Like they're actually paying you stuff on some of them? Are you already making money on some of
TikTok,
them?
Facebook, and Instagram, and I'm slowly working on YouTube at the moment.
That's pretty cool. And you are doing all of that yourself, like everything you edit, you record, you everything is you.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
That's and that's amazing for two things. It's just like the American story for so many. You got to learn so many things when you have your own business, and sometimes you
Mhm.
think it's only I'm just going to make art because that's what I do, and I'm just going to bend spoons and do all these things, and then you realize, oh, great, how do I sell them? Where do I sell them? Who's going to know? How do I get to expose these things? And now you are making websites. Now you are posting on all these platforms. Now you're just part of the circle. Now
Yeah.
you're part of the trend. Um, Is that something that you always knew that you needed to have all of those tools?
No, I just slowly learned it. I'm like, well, we got to figure this out sooner or later.
That's too funny. Well, Shayna, I did I say that right now?
Yes, you did.
Yes. Yeah, it was about time, 35 minutes later. Um, Well, Shayna, I think again, two things. Thank you very much for saying yes and taking some of your time this morning, and also the art you make is just so cool. And you are right when you said it. It's similar, but it's very different. You do a lot of unique stuff, and that's definitely very cool to see. And I think whether you like it or not, you have the chance of inspiring a lot of. Uh, Little boys and little girls there that hey, I can definitely make this as well, and it's very something that I loved because with I love that quote from Spider-Man with great powers comes great responsibility, and any one of us that have anything like this, sometimes we can expose or change someone's life just by hey, I can do that and make money and have a decent living and so on so on. So I want to thank you very much for saying yes to whatever this is. I'm still figuring things out, but I love to talk to people in the industry and trades and anything like this because it's just I love the journey behind it. The person, the art speaks for itself, but the person, where you come from, why, and your why. And I think you've shared some of that today. So, is there anything else that you would like to say?
That is it.
Well, Shayna, thank you again very much. I hope you
Thank
enjoy the
you.
rest of your day.
You
And
too.
I'll let you know when this is posting. It'll probably be in a couple of weeks or so.
Okay.
And of course, you know how that works. I'll tell you, know how, we millennials, that's how we work. Yeah. Well, Shayna, thank you very much.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
you. Keep putting good work. You're amazing.
Thank you.
Bye.